I need hardly assure you, gentlemen, how happy the Council is to see you take your seats before us. And I can equally speaking assure you that we shall give the closest possible attention to the statements which I understand you propose to make to us. And I now have pleasure in calling in the first instance to address the Council, calling on Mr. S.T. Flecko.
I am greatly honored at the permission granted me to appear before you. I come as a chosen representative of the Southern Togoland branch of the Convention People's Party. In particular, I speak for the Eves who inhabit the Ho and Pando districts of the southern section of Togoland under United Kingdom trusteeship. One fellow representative will speak on behalf of the other peoples of the southern section. Furthermore, still another representative will speak on behalf of the people of the northern section of the territory. I should like to refute at the outset the allegation made in the recent cablegram from the Togoland Congress, reproduced in document T-PET-6L42. This allegation is unfounded. It is one more example of the untrue and misleading statements that have so often been made before important organs of the United Nations. My colleagues here, who represent the chiefs and people of the Buem-Kraki district and of the northern section of the territory respectively, will speak for themselves on this matter. Far-reaching developments now taking place in my area. Since 1950, I have, among others, done service for the government, including those of Hohwe Town, a secondary school site at Pando, and the community center site at Amfuega, all in the Trust Territory. Among the work that I have undertaken recently is a contract with the government to survey a line for a new road from Chirepe to Ahunda. It is only with reluctance that I have felt called upon to travel to New York in view of the greater importance which is obviously attached here to the spoken word, and also to present to the United Nations the true side of the picture which has been misrepresented for so long a time. My people had wanted to send me here to the last session of the 4th committee, but the British prevented me. I will not take any more of the Council's valuable time with personal history. The wishes of the people I represent have been set out in the petition T-PET-6329 Ad 1. Nationalist political party whose leaders suffered imprisonment at the hands of the imperialists, but who triumphed, who have striven ever since to achieve an even greater measure of self-government. In fact, the Convention People's Party is now French. Many of us, indigenous inhabitants of the Trust Territory, have helped build up the Convention People's Party from the very beginning. The party is no foreign importation and has won resounding majorities in almost every one of the local government elections. The claim of my party to represent the large majority of the people. At first, Mr. Anto and his friends were not taken seriously by any of us. But the credence which the constant reiteration of the minority view at the United Nations has apparently encountered has made us decide to come to you with our side of the case. We feel that we must defend our cause and resist any attempt to cut our area off from the Gold Coast. Least of all, at a time when we are on the eve of attaining self-government. To this end, we of the CPP have publicly announced that we seek to give effect to the wishes of the majority of the people in British Togoland who are in favor of continuing our association. It was with this policy that the CPP achieved its notable electoral success in the Southern Togoland local authority elections. And this will be its platform at the forthcoming general elections.
Call upon Mr. Alisani to address the council. Mr. Alisani.
Mr. President, distinguished members of the Trusteeship Council, I have come here as a petitioner representing the chiefs and peoples of Dagomba, Nanumba, Mamprisi, and Gonja, who are within the northern section of Togoland and the United Kingdom Trusteeship. That similarly, the life of a useful man like me has a priceless value. But in spite of the great value which they attach to both the sum of £1,000 and my life, they have unhesitatingly decided to risk the two in order to send me to you here in New York across several thousand miles. Under the hard rule of the Germans, we always had the feeling of being in captivity and slavery. Or thereabout, our wishes were at last fulfilled. Germany was defeated and restored our states to their original holds. We celebrated these. These were not issues with which we, the peoples in the North, were concerned. But we were, nevertheless, in sympathy with the Evers and thought their requests were reasonable and just. As the course of events appeared to indicate, it looked as though the Ever people's requests were not being met in a manner which gave them satisfaction by the administering authorities. So, as we were made to understand, they petitioned the United Nations to intervene. Accordingly, in order to help find a suitable method of solving the difficulties, the United Nations sent out a visiting mission to the territory in 1949 to gain on-the-spot knowledge of the situation and report to the Council.